team who are on duty tonight. Sylvia is our superb zoo vet, being with us right from the start to help build the zoo up. She's an outstanding animal surgeon and a specialist in animal fertility. On her left is Flora, or I'm told to give her a proper name. Flora's a bit of a nickname. And Flora is our primates expert and has been with us now about 4 years. So now we're just waiting for Mr. Chris Lyons, the owner and managing director of the zoo, who should be joining us shortly. Good evening, please. Who are you? What's happening? Are you a doctor?
No, sir, I'm a policeman. Inspector Noel big size. From my experience, sir, that was the scream of a middle-aged lady who's just discovered a body. A body? Yes, sir, a body.
Whatever's happened? All right. It's Chris, he's dead. Yes, he's dead.
Yes, I suspected, sir. Well, there goes my night off. I'll let make some notes. So, madam, who are you?
I'm Travis. And that is Gray. I'm Mr. Lyons' PA. I can't believe he's dead. He was all right a few minutes ago. He was so alive and young. I took him a cup of coffee about 20 minutes ago, and then he was fine. Oh, dear. And then, when he didn't come out, oh, I know, he was finishing up some news and work on his papers, while joining up the tour. And then, I went into check out when he didn't come out of the office.
Right to the front.
I went to see to remind him of the time. He was lying on the floor, dead.
Look after her, will you? She's had a big shock. Miss Fox, can you show me to Mr. Lyons' office?
Come this way.
I need to examine the body. What's on, Paul?
The street. Much worse than that, George.
2 rats around.
Some dreadful little man just ran to the back of the furnace garage.
It's all right, you can go to fully comprehend.
I know what happens to people who upset you, mate. What did you do?
Anyway, have we missed anything? I say, Gladys, are you all right? You look simply dreadful.
Rosie, I know some terrible news. It's crazy, I'm afraid he's dead. Well, just now. I understand you. There's a victim in there now, but I think he was just about a heart attack.
Yes, Mr. King.
King got around.
However, I suspect foul play. There was reddening on his lips, and his tongue was swollen. I suspect Mr. Lyons consumed a toxic substance which caused a massive coronary.
You mean he's been poisoned?
Well, sir, we'll need a post-mortem to confirm that. But yes, I think he has. And I'm usually right. Who are you, sir, anyway?
I'm Roberto Locke, sir. I run the casino in the town. And, this is my good friend Rosie Lyons. She is the wife of a Chris Lyons.
Ex-wife, you mean?
Well, George Ratcliffe. Compassionate as ever, I see. Thought you were in the scrubs. Released early. Good behaviour, Mr. Noel. It's Noel, actually. It's Inspector to you.
Whatever.
What are you doing here, anyway?
I'm the pest control officer. I look after, sort out all the critters that they don't want to see around the zoo. Wasps, ants, mice, and particularly rats.
Very well. Every man was suited to a job, sir. That's you. Well, forensics are on their way. Until they get here, I'm going to look round some clues. No one is to leave the building. Miss Mr. Lyons has been killed, as I suspect, then everyone here is a suspect. I mean everyone. Mr. King, I suggest you serve the soup set. It could be a long night. Okay, everybody. A few questions I would like to ask. First of all, anybody explain how a man as young as the deceased came to own all of this?
Perhaps I can help you there, Inspector. Chris, Mr. Lyons, inherited this manor house and 120 acres of parkland from his parents when they were killed in a dreadful accident. He was only 14 years old. He also was given about £2 million in trust until he was 21. And with this, he bought the adjacent land to establish the safari park.
I see. You're very knowledgeable on the subject, Miss Gray.
Yes. Mr. Lyons, well, I worked for Mr. Lyons Sr. for 15 years prior to the accident. And then jumped at the chance to work for Chris when he started buying in the animals. I've been here since years.
Okay, thank you, Miss Gray. Now, I've been browsing through the deceased business diary. It seems he had code names for various people.
Code names? No, nicknames. They call me Bones, so Andrew King, A. King Bones. Sylvia Fox we call Sly. Rat is even more obvious, he's called Ratcliffe and he killed Rat. Flora's a continuous one. It's called Anne Faulkner, so we call her Flora and Fauna.
Pretty as a flower and bumps like a rabbit.
You say you spied on Miss Faulkner, Rat?
No, but I did see her about a month ago, Mr. Lyons. She was all over it.
Well, we're separated now.
And do you all live on the zoo grounds?
Well, I'm so liable in one cottage, Flora in another, and no one else except Chris.
I see. Okay, are there any more nicknames I should know about, Mr. King?
Well, I'm the elephant man, I guess.
So he looks after the elephants.
No, that's not what we call the elephant man.
God, he's not deformed, is he?
Not exactly formed. I guess some people might call him gifted.
So, who would want Chris Lyons dead?
I can't believe anyone would. He was such a kind, caring man.
Flora's so right. Chris was everyone's friend.
Not everyone's. Mr. Big over there, I know he wasn't very friendly with him.
How do you know that, Joe?
Well, I think it was about a month ago. The zoo was closed. It was late, yeah, it was late at night, the zoo was closed. And Mr. Big arrived and he asked where he could find sea lions. I told him they're up at the top next to the penguins. Jesus, he nearly bloody ripped me head off. Anyway, he demanded there and then that he wanted to see Mr. Lyons, so I phoned up Chris, told him what the score was. He said send the eye tie up the back way. I watched them through the office window with glasses.
You got it?
Yeah, my binoculars. They were in the office for about 10 minutes and then Mr. Lyons passed something over to Mr. Big and showed him the door.
So, Mr. Alotta, what was all that about, sir?
Inspector, it was nothing. I had a business proposal for Mr. Lyons, but he didn't want to know. He made a bigger mistake.
So, what proposal was that?
Well, I know that the zoo is losing a lot of money, so I said to Mr. Lyons, if he make me a partner in the zoo, maybe I could help him make some money. You know, I know a lot of people who spend the money, they shoot at the game birds and things like this. I think, how much would they pay to shoot a baby at anyone? Don't
The animals, you must be mad or evil.
Oh, okay, listen. The animals in the zoo,
properly.
Okay, well, it's the same thing. You give the elephant the injection or you shoot him. It's the same thing. Or you shoot him so he gets a bigger paycheck. It's a brilliant plan.
So, Mr. Potter, what did the lion say to that?
He got crazy. He got possessed. He said to me, it's never going to happen. He told me to get out of here. So I did.
I see. It's an unusual dialect you have, Mr. Lotte. Tell me, what part of Italy are you from, sir? Have you lived in this country long?
See, I'm from Rome, and I live here, about 10 years now.
Yes. Gee, Rome's one of my favourite cities. The Colosseum, St. Peter's Church, river purring through the city. It's fantastic.
See, it's a beautiful city, Inspector, but a whipped class has its attractions for me too.
Oh.
Yes, well, thank you for the geography lesson. But my husband is lying dead in there. Shouldn't you be looking for clues?
I quite understand the lines, I quite understand. Now, I understand you are separated from your husband and Madam. Was there much fitness between you?
No, not at all. We were still really good friends.
So why leave him?
Well, Inspector, you have to understand that I've not always been as fortunate as I am now. Before I met Chris, there was really no point in my life. No money, no self-respect. I was doing things I was deeply ashamed of. And then one day, I was running away from someone and ran across a busy road. And smack! And the next thing I knew, I was lying in hospital with this young, handsome man sitting at my bedside. Well, I suppose Chris must have felt responsible because he visited me every day until I was fit and well enough to leave. And by then, we'd grown to love one another. So I moved in with him.
You are just a lousy building.
That's a lie. Before I left hospital, I had no idea that Chris was a wealthy man. I just knew that he was kind and charming, and I loved him.
So, what went wrong, madam? Why leave him?
Well, Inspector, about first years of our marriage was fantastic. I was truly happy. I had the man of my dreams. Everything. And then, about 8 years ago, we went to Kenya on a safari. And Chris saw the plight of the wild animals and resolved to help. And so the park was founded, and money just began to pour into it. But then Chris got more and more fanatical about the animals, especially after meeting Sylvia. I'm sure she thinks that animals are far more important than people.
More important than most people. They don't let you down or hurt you.
Well, I can understand the zoo would take a lot of money. That's a big country. But surely he had plenty.
Yes, well, initially it wasn't a problem. But more and more money kept being spent. And then Chris remortgaged the manor to pay for some extra land. And I could see us going broke. And I'd been penniless before, Inspector, and I had no intentions of doing so again. So I said to Chris that he either sold back the land or he took a partner to help with the finances. He did neither. So I gave him an ultimatum. Either the zoo or me. All he said was he couldn't abandon the animals. I wondered then if he'd found someone else, but he denied it.
So you left him, madam?
Yes, about a year ago now. But I rent an apartment nearby, and I see him most weeks.
I see. And your relationship with Mr. Lotte here, madam?
Well, apart from being my landlord, he has become a good friend. But that is all, Inspector.
Oh, come on, Rosie. He was in his dressing gown when I called at your house on Tuesday.
Yes, he stayed over. Separate rooms, though. I don't like sleeping in the house on my own.
So, Flora, why exactly did you go to see Mrs. Lyons?
I wanted to tell her that Chris and I were united. She's a keeper Italian stallion and leave Chris alone.
I wonder if Mr. Lyons ever intended going back to his wife. Did he, for example, try to find a business partner?
Well, actually, Inspector, he approached Andrew and I, but we hadn't got any money at the time. You was a shame because we'd love to become partners in the zoo. But my aunt's very ill and he looks as though we might be coming into some money with us.
Oh, I see. Now, let's move on. I see from the diary that two of you just returned from Peru.
Yes, that's right.
Yes, Sylvia and I went here. We went to acquire a couple of Peruvian redneck almonds. They've just been put, they're called crumbs, by the way. They've just been put on the endangered species list, and Chris wanted to set up a breeding programme. So we brought them back, and we brought a boa constrictor back.
I see. Were you away long then?
Just 5 days. We spent 2 days in the Amazon, which was amazing, and 2 days at the reserve. The only problem we had was getting out of the country again. Apparently some important jewel had been stolen. Everyone was being searched. We were both strip searched. It was dreadful. I wanted to complain to Ambassador, but Sylvia didn't want to make the fuss. Too embarrassed us.
But that's the most attention you've had in years. Apparently they used to cut out the hearts of their enemies while they were still alive. It's in good, eh? Roberto ain't capable of doing that.
Sit down! Sit down! Please, gentlemen, calm down! So, Andrew, how come you didn't go on the trip? Surely it's more your job to find the animals.
Well, usually you'd be right, but obviously Laura's our primates expert, and still we need to check on the health of the animals. We had let people come here anyway.
Yes, I'm sure you did. So, Rats, how long have you worked here?
2 years now. Mr. Lyons, he gave me a job, place to sleep, trusted me. No one's ever done that before.
And where do you sleep, sir?
I sleep in one of the port cabins at the zoo, and then during the day, go down to town, keep out the way, and then come back at night and set the traps. Funny really, with all the animals here, there'd be uproar if anybody saw a rat. I mean here, the zoo, it's just like a 5-star hotel for rats. There's plenty of places for them to sleep, plenty of food to eat, loads of popios for them No. Just rats.
George, you know that's not true. You don't have to sign the forms.
I think I'd better examine your stores, Rats. Who has a key?
Just me and Bones.
Right. Well, I suggest the rest of you eat while I go and see what goodies Rats have in his locker. Thank you for meeting me in Mr. Lyons' office. I have some important information. Forensics have confirmed that Mr. Lyons died of a heart attack caused by consuming a toxic substance of unknown origin. I've examined the pest control store, and I can tell you it's an Aladdin's cave of noxious compounds, most of which I suspect to be illegal. Forensics are in there at the very moment, trying to match any of these substances with the ones that killed Chris Lyons.
This is a fit-up lot, it wasn't me. Why would I want to kill the only guy that's ever shown me any respect?
Well, perhaps because you're dating a woman, but you know I've talked to Chris on several occasions about it, and you know you've had a written warning.
That's just you staring up on you never have one, have you?
So what was the warning about?
Well, on 2 separate occasions we found George under the influence of alcohol. And we have
That's nothing new.
Spit it out, Andrew. What you mean is the peeping Tom?
Look, I spent 12 years behind bars, so I look through the occasional bedroom window.
Now watching. He's not the only one who's had a warning lately, is he?
Well, I think warning's a bit strong, things like this, but it is true that Chris and I did have words.
Go on.
Well, in the past, I have had a bit of a gambling habit. The thing they use now, occasional horses, the old man casino, it's a bit like gambling, you have to be stopped. That's all there was.
I see. Anyway, I think we should get to the murder. So, are there any poisonous animals in the zoo?
No, all zoos have to remove the venom sacs from snakes and any other deadly animals.
And have you performed this operation, though?
On occasions I have.
I see. Gladys! I understand you took Mr. Lyons a cup of coffee 20 minutes before he was found dead.
Yes,
Did you make the drink yourself, madam?
of course, Inspector. Milk and white sugar. Just like his father used to do. Actually, I have to ask Andrew to get more sugar from the cafe. Because we run out of sachets in here.
I see. Did anybody else see Chris Lyons before he was found dead?
I don't think so, unless perhaps they use the outside fire escape.
I presume that can only be opened from the inside.
Yes, Inspector, that's right.
Who had seen Mr. Lyons earlier in the day?
Well, Inspector just about everybody. He called Andrew and, who else? Flora and, Sylvia into his office to discuss the evening function. And, oh yes, that's right. Mrs. Lyons came in the morning and with some papers. And she needed to have a signature, I think. Not that it's anything to do with me, of course.
No, not so, madam. Mrs. Lyons, what document, please?
Well, if you must know, there were divorce papers. Not that I wanted a divorce, you understand, but I needed to know if you were still with that trollop now. He said that if I threatened to leave Chris and threatened with divorce, then he would most likely reconsider and take me back. I even left my pen with him.
Your pen, madam?
Yes. It was my wedding present from Chris. It was a Cartier fountain pen with my initial on it. Thought it reminded me of the good times we had together.
You scheming cow! The new suit was over. Chris had moved on. He had me in his life.
Well, that was the crystal sign, wasn't it? And we both lost it now.
It's interesting. You haven't found any documents or expensive pens in the office.
He must be in his safe. Allow me to open it for you.
You know the combination, Gladys?
Of course. Mr. Lyons knew he could trust me. He was very like his father. Actually, it's my fault. He's dead now.
What?
Well, we were having an affair.
You? Having an affair with Chris Lyons?
No, not with Chris. With his father. And he was going to leave his wife. And the day he died, he told me he was going to tell her that. And then I heard that his car crashed into a tree and she was driving.
Surely she wouldn't do that. Not with a child.
Well, Chris was only 14. Well, he was 14 then. And he was away at boarding school. They rarely met. And he was always fond of his father. His mother was prone to depression.
This has had a big effect on your life, Gladys, as well as Chris's.
I think it affected me more than Chris. His parents were almost strangers. But I lost my one true love. My life.
Did Chris know you were his father?
Goodness me, no. As far as he was concerned, I just worked for his father.
See. Well, when you're ready, Gladys, open the safe.
This is great.
divorce papers all right? Unsigned? No. What have we got here? Some photographs. Rosie and Roberto.
What the fuck?
Some photos, sir. Taken by an amateur with a zoom lens, I would say. Fair enough. The restaurant? The car? Walking? I say. And the breakfast table in dressing gowns.
You took these, didn't you?
Well, someone had to show Chris what was going on. He couldn't believe that you would shack up with him.
There was nothing going on. We are just friends.
That's interesting. You're on this one, aren't you? What is there, isn't it, in the background? Looks like a casino.
Yeah, I guess that could be me.
Let me see, Inspector. Yes, this is my casino. Bonzi's always there. Is it a problem?
Not to me, it isn't, sir. Not to me. So,
Let's see what else we have in here, shall we?
well, that's convenient. That's a will and testament. So, let's see who had most gain financially, shall we? Yes. Right. Well, the manor house and possessions. Left to Rosie. The mortgage to be paid off, madam, by the life insurance. Two to be transferred. Andrew and Sylvia.
That's fantastic.
And then there are cash payments for Gladys, Flora, and even rats, amongst others. So, you all do it right, I suppose.
How can you say that, Inspector? Chris is dead. His life's worth more than any amount of money.
Yes, I can understand that, Adam. But we still haven't found a Cartier pen. So, Rosie, are you sure you left with Mr. Lyons?
Yes, of course, Inspector.
Well, forensics have scoured the room and the body, and there's no sign of a Cartier pen. They did, however, find a mobile phone. I checked the call register earlier. It appears that Mr. Lyons made a 6-second call 10 minutes to 7. So, who is that to, I wonder? Explain yourself, rats.
Nothing to explain. Nothing to explain. He just phoned me up, told me that we had visitors coming round and just to keep out of the way.
Are you going to be much longer, Inspector? I've got the animals to look after.
Yes. I'm sure you're all keen to get away. But I think I'm beginning to see what's been going on this time. So, what do we know? We know that Chris Lyons was in financial difficulties. We know the zoo was losing money. And to go back to his wife, Chris Lyons would have to sell some land or find a business partner. We know that Andrew and Sylvia would have loved to have become partners, but couldn't afford to until now. We know that Flora had feelings for Mr. Lyons and Roberto for Mrs. Lyons. Were these reciprocated? I'm not sure. We know that Roberto is a nasty piece of work. He should have known that Roberto is nowhere near Rome. And as for that accent, sir, simply crap. Mr. Lyon's personal accounts and documents, and was probably the last person to see him alive. What I still don't know is why anybody wanted Chris Lyons dead. But I'm working on that one, and as soon as I find out, you people will be the first to know. Oops. No? Yes? Right. Right. Right, thank you. Well, what do you know? Forensics have come up trumps. They found a Cartier pen and a ruby hidden in rats' pest control. So, that should make things clearer, ladies and gentlemen. So I think by the time you've had your pudding, I should be in a position to reveal all. Well, ladies and gentlemen, what a can of worms we've opened up tonight. After so much information, I've had to buy a bigger notebook. So, it's not been easy, but I think I know now what's been going on. So, who killed Chris Lyons? So we can rule out Gladys. She's just a poor, disillusioned old lady.
Rubbish!
Sorry, Gladys, but you thought Mr. Lyons Senior was going to leave his wife for you. That's my sergeant to check up on the man. Apparently, he was a compulsive liar and adulterer. It seems he worked his way through half the women in the office. And rumour has it, some of the men too.
You were right. There we are. I said they were all homosexuals.
And needlessly carrying around the guilt of his death for the last 20 years. She would not be capable of murder. So, what about Rosie Lyons? Well, it seems strange to me that she should walk out on her husband and then try for a year to get him back and serve him divorce papers to do it. But then, I never did understand women. And of course, she was being advised by Roberto Lotta, who obviously wanted her and the zoo as well. So, who is Roberto Lotta? He's not Italian, that's for sure. The truth is, he doesn't exist, does he? Mr. Daly. Oh yes, you can have your plastic surgery. The thing is, according to our police records, you're dead. So, you manage that?
You're right, Inspector. I robbed Daly to my friends. I was a member of the infamous NatWest gang, and we stole 16 million in used notes back in 1995. I got put away for that in 3 years, but I was let out after 3 years for cooperating with the police. Well, the truth is, I grasped on the rest of the gang to get my freedom. Well, I knew where most of the money was hidden. I just needed a new face, because I was a dead man walking once the word got out that I was a grass. So, I spent some time living with junkies and down and outs up Clifton Road.
Don't tell them too much.
One day, this junkie I knew overdosed and died. Well, I saw my chance, Inspector. I disposed of his body in a fire. I got a bent computer hacker to switch out dental records. When the body was discovered, the only form of ID were the teeth. So, the coppers and the NatWest gang all think I'm dead. Bit of plastic surgery and 10 million to play with. I started a new life. But that doesn't mean I murdered Chris Lyons, Inspector.
No? No, I don't think you did. Poison's a bit sweet to you. There was a hit and run manner. Legs will back around the head, man.
Maybe.
Oh, rats. Can you explain how the ruby and the pen can be found in your store?
Okay. I took the pen. I admit that. Mr. Lyons phoned me up at about 6:50, asked me to come up to his office immediately. Went up, it was less than 5 minutes, and when I got there, he was lying dead on the floor. I know I should have called for help, but how would it have looked? Me and ex-con with a dead body. You lot would have had a field day. So I just left by the back way and went down the fire escape.
Taking the pen with you.
Yeah, I couldn't resist it. Must be worth thousands. It was just lying there next to the body. So I took the pen, went down the fire escape, put it into my store, and then walked round the front. I had Gladys scream, and I just walked in.
I see. And the ruby?
No, nothing about the ruby.
So, Andrew Netherseal, you stood to gain ownership of the zoo by killing Chris Lyons.
Yeah, we didn't need to do that. We could walk away soon enough.
Maybe, but not with inheritance. I don't think Sylvia had a wealthy aunt, and you were the only one who had a key to the store apart from Jack. And I know this has got something to do with that ink and ruby. Come on, you may as well tell us now. It'll all come out in the end.
All right then. We wanted to buy into the zoo, but Andrew got gambling debts. He owed Roberto, or whatever his name is, £20,000. Then he says we could pay it off and also have £200,000 besides if we could find a way of getting the ruby into England. So we came up with a plan. Roberto's contacting Peru to get us the ruby. And I would stitch it into a small animal and feed it into the boa constrictor. And then there would be a bulge that would last for a week or more in the boa constrictor. So through customs there'd be no trouble at all because customs officer wouldn't want to fight with a 16-foot snake. Then when I got it back to Witch's Cross, while it was still in quarantine, I would surgically remove it, and that was that.
I see. Was Flora involved in this scam?
Oh, good God, no, she's only interested in her monkeys.
Mr. Dave, what did you intend to do with this ruby? It was a national treasure in Peru. You can hardly sell it off.
I intended to give it back, Inspector.
Why?
Well, I thought that was obvious to you. I was going to tell them that the ruby was given to me by Andrew and Sylvia as part of their bad debt payment at the casino. I get a substantial reward for its return. Bones and Sly get put away. Chris Lyons, in the meantime, he's lost his two main employees at the zoo. He wouldn't be able to operate. Plus, he's got to pay Rosie half of his estate as their divorce settlement. I'm ready then to step in, buy the zoo at a knockdown price.
Why did you want the zoo? Losing money.
I've got plans to develop the zoo into a theme park, Inspector. That's where the money is these days.
Well, I think that's everything sorted out. Apart from, of course, who killed Chris Lyons, how, and why. So, we'll start with the murder weapon, shall we? Poison that killed Chris Lyons was in the end of Rosie's pen. He obviously put it to his mouth while he was thinking. And it was obviously a very potent dose. So, what was it, Flora?
Well worked out, Inspector. Oh, poison was from the skin of an Amazonian tree frog.
Yeah.
As one of the most venomous known to man. Rubians use it to hunt with. Causes the heart to dilate, leading to a massive coronary, but leaves no trace in the body. We came across a frog on our safari. Predators leave it well alone, so it didn't move. Swabbed it with a cotton bud, brought it back to England. When I was at Rose's house on Tuesday, I put it on the end of the pen while she was getting changed after a blessing meal.
Flora, why?
Look, you see, it was meant for her. With Rosie out of the way, Chris would have no financial worries, the zoo would be safe, and Chris would be free to share his life with me. How was I to know she'd take it to the office?
Well, Flora, I think you've got to howler. So you can say goodbye to your primates, because given circumstances, I think this is going to be your last night with the prawns. And just like your monkeys, you'll be spending a long time behind bars. So, ladies and gentlemen, I think that solves the mystery of who killed Chris Lyons. Thank you for your cooperation. You are now free to leave.